We are back with Formula One racing, and the long-awaited season has begun with the Bahrain Grand Prix. Now we all know Red Bull will be winning the season opener race, but the main drama revolves around the teams just behind Verstappen and Perez. Ferrari started the 2024 season with a bang, and I mean quite literally banging the brakes of Leclerc, and same goes for Hamilton, who drove the car so close to the ground he almost rubbed his seat against the track. So let's see why every other team on the grid failed miserably in the first race this year. After the pre-season testing, where we saw the likes of Ricciardo, Hamilton, Leclerc and Sainz top the timing sheets, we all thought that this might be the year where we will see some competitive racing. But I guess racing gods don't like us very much as Verstappen cruised to victory with 22 seconds gap to his teammate Sergio Perez and 25 seconds to closest non-Red Bull car of Sainz. It is safe to say that we are going to see a repeat of the last two seasons this year as well. Moving on to the closest car to Red Bull on the grid, Ferrari. They looked like clear title contenders in the pre-season test and narrowly missed out on the pole position during qualifying. However, the reliability issues once again plagued the Italian squad as Leclerc faced some massive brake issues during the race. Monegasque struggled with his front tires, locking up repeatedly during the first race of the 2024 Formula One season, falling from second position to finish fourth. Leclerc, predicted to be Verstappen's top rival, said the problem occurred right from the start, but he was able to begin controlling it around lap 15 or 20. He further explained what the problem actually was at the post-race interview, as he said, "It was impossible in the first 15 laps. The issue was getting a lot worse every lap. I was obviously basing my braking for turn 9, 10 with the previous lap, which obviously fell too late all the time, but the issue was getting a lot worse. Every time I would brake 3 meters earlier, but I would still lock up. Then at lap 15 or 20, the issue stabilized." The team told me on the radio that it was more than 100 degrees split between front, right and front left, which is huge. At that moment, I understood that the best thing I could do was just to bring the car home to the checkered flag. Leclerc also confirmed that the brake issue with the SF24 during the Bahrain GP was the first time he had experienced it, and that Ferrari will look into the problem after this race weekend to figure out if a permanent solution is needed before the next race, which is the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix next weekend. But the Ferrari were not the only team on the grid who made some massive mistakes in this race. The Silver Arrows, led by Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, also faced some troubles as they tried to battle for podium places. Russell, who started the race from P3, fell down to P5 and Hamilton down in 7th. The mistake that Mercedes made was one that is quite unusual given the team's history of dominant runs. In the post-race interviews, both drivers elaborated on the issues that troubled the W15 car. After showing good initial pace as Russell took P2 just behind Verstappen, both their cars started overheating. Now every team on the grid has slots on their car's engine cover, which allows the engine and its components to be cooled efficiently. The teams decide on how much to open up these slots to make sure that they are not excessively taking the air into the inlet for cooling as it creates drag, and thereby reduces performance. However, Mercedes opted for a cooling package that was incorrect and insufficient for the W15 car on that day. The team revealed that they have made a miscalculation, and that led to both of the drivers being affected by it. Russell explained the situation as he stated, "All we needed to do was put a slightly bigger bodywork on. It may have cost us 1/4 of a tenth, but we wouldn't have had to lose 4/10 in the engine." Apart from the cooling issues, they also suffered from battery issues. After a few laps, both the drivers reported of their battery being completely depleted, and there was no performance left for them to utilize to overtake other cars on the grid. They spent most of their time harvesting the energy to make sure they have at least some in the reserve to be able to defend from the cars behind them. It was not the result Mercedes had expected after Hamilton and Russell were 1-2 in Thursday practice at Sakir. Russell went on to say, "We both faced a similar problem. For whatever reason, we had massive engine overheating and the battery wasn't working properly. I made a really good start, got into second, and I just thought, here we go. And suddenly I had these big red alarms on my steering wheel, and I had no battery left, and we had to turn the power down. We were losing about 4/10 a lap just in power, and it was so difficult holding them off. I was surprised we managed to do it for the first 10 laps or so. It's a shame that we didn't get to show any real potential of this car. So both the title contenders had some massive troubles, which led to Red Bull opening massive gaps to them in the race. But it was not all smooth sailing for the Austrian team. Christian Horner, the team principal for Red Bull, was recently accused of inappropriate behavior with a female employee and was under investigation. Now, although he was cleared of any accusations, there is still some uncertainty in the paddock around the results of this investigation and what the future holds for the team and him. Recently, Ford, who is partnering with Red Bull Powertrains division, expressed frustration regarding this matter and wanted transparency from the team and revelation of the results of the investigation with them. Now that begs the question, will other sponsors of the Red Bull team be questioning the team's decision to keep Christian Horner at helm as usual? It does certainly give a bad reputation for the team to take no action against Horner and neither provide any information as to how the investigation was carried out. They also haven't revealed the messages and chats sent by Horner to this so-called employee that were under question or any kind of transparency in this matter. There were some messages that were circulating in the social media, and rumors had it that almost 149 people in the F1 paddock were sent these messages in a Google Drive. But the legitimacy of these proofs still remains unclear, as no comments were made from the Red Bull team or Horner himself. After Red Bull's dominance at the Grand Prix, Horner restated in his media interview that he would not comment on the leak. When asked if the messages were real, he declined to answer. However, Horner said with certainty that he thought he would remain as the team's leader for the whole season. He further added, "I have always been completely sure that I would stay here. My attention is on the upcoming season and the upcoming races we have left." When Max Verstappen was asked about the issues with Horner and the accusations against him, he remained neutral and stated that it is not their business to interfere in this matter, and he sees Horner on how he handles the team, and that's about it. Anything unrelated to the racing or team's performance is of no concern for Verstappen. From the looks of it, Red Bull seems to be pushing things under the rug and helping to cover up for Horner for the sake of avoiding any drama. So even after a dominant win in the Bahrain Grand Prix, the Milton Keynes-based teams still have a lot on their plate to figure out. So what do you think? Will other teams catch up to Red Bull? Or will Verstappen continue his dominance and win every single race in the 2024 season? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure to smash that like button, subscribe and turn on the bell icon to never miss another upload from us. See you in the next one.